Good afternoon. Welcome back to the channel. This video is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. Do your own research, make your own decisions. All right, guys, welcome back. So this is going to be my first video walking through everything and trying to make this make sense to the average person. Okay. I'm going to do multiple different videos like this, but that's my primary focus at this point in time. First, for anybody who's never looked into ICP, first, forget everything you've heard about crypto in this entire space. This is more so just about software, IT, web development conversation, okay? And most everything you've probably heard about crypto is bullshit in all reality. So think of this ICP, similar to Amazon Web Services. It's a full stack compute platform, okay? But it's on chain. Now, these canisters, think of this like your own private sovereign cloud that you own and control, okay? Same concept with digital assets and ownership of digital assets, not your keys, not your crypto, right? Same concept with data. This is the other part of the conversation that nobody has in this entire space, okay? Same concept with data. You own and control your canister. You control the degree of access other people have to your content. No firewalls in IT. So if you apply this exact same functionality on Web 2, if by chance anybody was successful with some application, they had their AI model create them, if they were successful, they would have a long list of problems as it relates to cybersecurity and IT. You have to put the entire apparatus in place just to defend against cybercrime, which is currently going parabolic and is projected to continue going parabolic. So you'd be launching your own software application in the middle of a cyber pandemic, okay? Trying to figure it all out as an entrepreneur. Sounds like a nightmare. On ICP, no need for IT and cybersecurity because it's all wrapped in tamper-proof programmable software on chain. Okay? There's a built-in payment system. So you can have the large language model that's embedded into your canister, build you an application, figure out a customized plan to monetize it, do all the data and analytics, manage everything, and you own and control it. Now, that doesn't mean that because you can have some AI model create you some application that it's going to be successful and people are going to use it, but you will have the ability to do that. Or any other type of application you want. Maybe it's just your own website. Maybe it's some custom application to, for fitness or whatever it is. Anything. The flexibility here is insane. Just imagine you essentially can do anything. Okay? Is your private cloud to pretty much do everything. Anything you want. But this is the other part of the conversation. Not your keys, not your crypto. Same concept applies here with data. All right? And the canister itself is programmable. So you can control, think of visibility to the outside world of your content, kind of like being on a sliding scale to where you can manage the degree of visibility people have into your content, right? And or make certain things gated to only certain groups of people. Okay. I've been asked what changed, and for me, finding out that the new large language models had the functionality that they do and finding out the timeline on when they were going to be coming out, that's what changed. Because the network and the infrastructure is in place with ICP. There's still other things that have to be done at the network level with network level integrations with these other networks across the entire space. So this stuff still has to be done, but Bitcoin's already done. And Ethereum is, I'd say, towards the back half of being done. And those other things can just get done over time. But you have a network and an infrastructure in place. And see, this is the thing that people really need to get, is that everything that's built on this network is going to have significantly more advantages and benefits than anything else because they're different properties as far as software. Okay? Because this is built on a framework that you don't have to worry about cybersecurity and IT. It's also built on a framework where you have this embedded system architecture that lets you more or less embed large language models into this programmable tamper-proof software that lets you do anything. Okay? So There's multiple new paradigms colliding here simultaneously. And that's probably why you're not, well, one, you're not going to hear anything about it regardless, not especially not when ICP is in single digits, but you're probably also not going to hear anything about it because there's multiple different huge, huge changes happening. And I don't think people can process what's going on. There's too many distractions. There's too much crazy shit happening. You would have had to have actually been anticipating a lot of this and watching it all unfold over the last year or two to get where we're at now. But okay, guys, the concept of smart software in this entire system is an Armageddon style event to all scams, all bots, all fake influence. It would literally wipe all of that off the fucking face of the earth as far as on the web. All right. This is a truth-based system. Okay. And so when you're thinking about the future web and future social media, it's important to take the bots out, to take the fake influence out, to take all this scammy, grifty stuff out, because this is a system run by smart software, and grifters and scammers just don't fucking make it on this system. All right. So think with that. The landscape of social media is going to change. We're not all going to be tiled into one big brainwashing platform like Twitter, where you don't know who actually, you really don't know who has real reach and influence in an audience and who doesn't. That can be 100% manufactured in this type of a setup. You have no fucking clue. People can just buy their entire follower count and act like they're somebody who's important and just start talking out of their ass all day. And that's what we have at scale across the entire fucking web right now. And this is the fucking reckoning to all of that. Yeah. Okay. But be flexible with your outlook here because anything is fucking possible with this. This is insane. So just picture 10 of us. We all build our own website. Well, we have the large language model embedded into our sovereign cloud that we own and control, build our websites for us, right? Okay, so I had some ideas and I'm just gonna throw some out there. But in a general sense, you really need to start thinking with the significance of embedded systems and systems within systems and network effects and all of these things. Like that's kind of where your mind needs to be in a very flexible, anything is technically possible type of a mindset. All right. And again, I don't know if I already said this, but if DFINITY says that at some point in time this is going to be possible, I'm rolling with them at this point. Okay. Even if it's comes out later than expected, it really doesn't matter. All right. This is like warp drive technology, guys, in the world of software and IT, in web development. When you're talking about taking web development and essentially just automating it with the snap of a finger, I mean, you have to kind of reassess the situation after that. When something like that gets introduced, you have to look around and say, oh shit, what does this mean? What are the implications, right? Okay, so all 10 of us have our large language model create us our website, right? And so to using the concept of like network effects, and what I was thinking about was embedding my channel in the future, once I transition everything over, more or less embedding my channel behind a creator marketplace / social media application. Okay, so think of all 10 of us, or 30 of us, or 50 of us. I floated this idea not too long ago, right? About a creator marketplace. So essentially the concept here would be 10, 20, 50, 100 different people have their own websites where they cover whatever it is, right? And you more or less create an application on top of that and a marketplace on top of that that more or less gives people access to the creators behind it. And so essentially the only way you could get to my content, unless you're a certain number of people that I could actually set aside and just say, you don't even have to go through this, but I could set it up to where more or less to get to my content, you would have to go through the marketplace. And that's how each and every other person could as well. And what you're really doing is you're bringing all of that traffic through the social media application creator marketplace, but you're also letting other creators join the ecosystem and get their content out as well, because there's already going to be a bunch of traffic coming through here. And so for new creators that might not have an audience yet, or they're just trying to get started, this would be a way for them to kind of get their content to a wider audience, because there's already going to be tons of traffic coming through here. And I think about this. Let's just say we did something like that. And the creator marketplace is itself a social media application, but it also, your subscription or whatever it is to the creator marketplace, it gives you access to all the creators behind it. All right. But it is a social media application in itself. And so let's just say that we did this. And then after a number of years, this just became its own fully functional social media application because of all the traffic that came through there over the years. And because a lot of creators would also put their stuff on here, and other people who wanted to get into the network would put their stuff on here to kind of get their name and their content out, right? And so I was thinking about using, like, I guess, my network effects as a content creator and embedding it into a marketplace that would more or less cause traffic to come, and that would allow other people to kind of get their content. You see what I'm saying? But we could essentially sell that years later as a just social media application at that point, because it's a fully functional social media application. And since we're the founders, we own all 50 of the governance tokens, and we could just sell it off as a social. You see what I'm saying? Like, the ideas, the possibilities here are so insane that you can do anything. It's just going to be a series of interconnected digital universes that runs autonomously. This is insane. It really is. It's okay. Now, everything with ICP just becomes the application layer. Any Bitcoin company, you can just go and tell an AI smart contract, build me a Bitcoin application that does this, right? And there might be some additional things of relating to like network stuff that might have to happen that's not like just application level, with certain things with cross-chain solutions that these AI models may or may not be able to build. But you're just talking about essentially automating so much of the development process. It's insane. It's insane how much of the development process you're talking about just bam, gone. AI does it. And so there's already Bitcoin solutions, Bitcoin scaling solutions, and other types of projects that are really designed to scale Bitcoin, add more functionality. And this is just going to increase the incentives to use AI smart contracts exponentially. Same with Ethereum, same with basically every other network. The incentives for them to use Canister smart contracts for their application as opposed to big tech cloud are just going to skyrocket. There's almost no reason not to in our reality. Okay? So let's back up. Each person will have their own sovereign cloud on chain. And so just think about this as your own digital universe. Okay? You can do anything with it that you want, or nothing. You can just store all your data and everything in here if that's all you want to do. All right? But when I say that there's multiple new paradigms colliding simultaneously, this is what I mean. When you drop, when you have large language models that can build applications on command, custom applications like that in a minute or so, that's a new paradigm. That is automation of web level development. All right. Before, you have to pay people to build out all those different things. You have to pay software engineers to build out all these things. Now you're talking about automating that entire process on the whole web. So that's a new paradigm. But the concept of sovereign clouds that users own and control on an open public network, that itself is a new paradigm. And you're essentially dropping a new paradigm in a new paradigm when the network itself and the infrastructure and everything is in place for this to just run. You could essentially, in all reality, let's just say you were to drop 100 of these large language models into 100 different canisters, and you said, clone the top 100 applications on Web 2. Well, what good would that do, Bobby? Because they're already... You would be cloning all of those applications on an environment where cybersecurity and IT is not needed. That's a very big thing in the middle of a cyber pandemic. Cybercrime's only going to continue to go up. All right? So that's how powerful. When I was working through my timeline, I'm thinking developers and engineers are going to be building a lot of this out. I wasn't sure how much, right? I didn't know when these AI models would get here. But the second that they do get here, if this fucking works, it's literally, guys, this type of a system would transform the world. Okay? Just all the scams and bots and faking, like all that's fucking gone. But even outside of the digital world, it would transform the entire world. And we can go into all that at some other point in time. But this is truly insane. Insane. Okay? And guys, think about this. Let's fast forward 2 years. Let's say that this is in place. Okay? Let's say this is in place in 2 years from now. Whether it is, whether it isn't, doesn't matter. But whether it does get here at some point, that does matter. So let's say somebody has their website on Amazon Web Services and they have decent traffic, right? Doesn't matter what the website's for in all reality, but they have a lot of issues. They just have a lot of issues with how everything is set up. They would ideally like a better setup than what they're doing on Amazon Web Services. Here you go. Let's just say it's a creator and they have their own account on social media and they have their website and a link in the description section, right? Drop a new link. Now, this is where I have a question, and this is kind of important. Well, maybe not, but so important, because I think we're going to move into verifiable credentials, and that would essentially solve the problem that I'm going to present. But so right now, if you were to host your website on ICP, I know you can control visibility from the outside world, but could you essentially just leave visibility open even for people who don't have internet identities? I think you can. But if that's the case also, then if you had to have an internet identity, right, then that would be a barrier, right, for somebody who was already using Amazon Web Services and they have their own website. But if you don't have to have an internet identity to view the content, if they could essentially just make that open, they're paying for cybersecurity and everything right now, right, just to defend against hacks on Amazon Web Services. You can move to ICP. It would build it for you. An AI model would run your entire website, and you own it. You don't own it on Amazon Web Services, okay? You actually own it. So this is crazy, and on so many different levels. But more or less, just think about tons of digital universes, interconnected digital universes. All right. This is all of us a number of years from now with our platforms built out the way that we want it, right? And us connected with each other to the degree that we want to be. The future web will be all about networks, connections, value, real value. Scammers don't make it on the new web. Scamming was a Web 2 thing. When all the software you use has large language models embedded into it, that will be a thing of the past. And so that reason, and probably a couple other reasons, there's probably going to be some people that aren't particularly thrilled with that, but this is designed to be the most efficient web possible. Okay? And so just imagine large language models being embedded into all these canisters, and the whole concept of embedded system architecture is huge here, because we don't have anything like this. There's nothing else comparable to this. All right? Nothing else comparable to this on Earth. And so just compare something like this to, like, what are you going to do on Web 2 with this? Nothing. Nothing. On top of that, too, there are just so many other implications on a big scale here, just with monetization. Does everybody really think that all these big tech companies that have spent tons and tons and tons of money and resources on AI aren't going to be looking for the best ways to monetize that? And ICP offers you the platform and the network to monetize 100 fucking percent of it. There could be an AI stock market, like a tokenized AI stock market, where all the most popular large language models on Earth are essentially publicly traded on a global stock market on chain. Why wouldn't they do that? Not just that it opens them up to insane amounts of liquidity. Essentially, you're more or less creating a platform that it could be a tokenized AI model stock market. It's the only thing on Earth right now that could actually do that. That's insane. That's insane. Think about how many people want to invest in those things. Like, let's just say that ChatGPT or that OpenAI, let's just say they were to come out, okay, hey, you're going to have an opportunity to buy into partial ownership of our AI model, right? How many people do you think are going to be jumping out of their seats to do that? Probably a ton. You can create a whole AI model stock market. There's so many things you can do with this. It's insane. But it all comes down to it's the technology, it's everything working synchronistically. But for this specifically, the embedded system architecture, there's nothing else like this, man. Because it's adding a layer of programmability into the web that was not there before. There's nothing like this right now. And so you can't look at the web through its current framework and parameters, and you have to look at it through this. There's a new layer of programmability essentially being built into the web, and that is as flexible and can take shape in so many different forms. Any type of software, they could use it for any type of software, and you're embedding AI into it that doubles as a software engineer that can turn it into anything that you want. So you have a general purpose software that is very flexible and can essentially be anything that you own and control. And then you drop a large language model that can build you anything that you want on command. And then manage it, right? You have all the auditing and everything done too, data analytics. And you can connect with other creators, and y'all can use these large language models to more or less create collaborative platforms. So all of this is run autonomously. This is autonomous, tamper-proof software essentially running the web. But never wrap your mind around this concept. The large language model is embedded into the canister. You own the canister. So the large language model operates within the parameters and the controls that you set. There's nothing else that can do this. There's nothing else that can do this. Okay? Even if they do come out with this thing on Web 2, with this functionality on Web 2, like Eric Schmidt described, and I do think that we'll see some of that. Even if they do, they can't offer anybody, there's nothing that they can do to offer somebody a solution like this. Their own sovereign cloud that doesn't need cybersecurity or IT because it's on chain. All this is on an open governance framework, right? And you have large language models embedded into that canister that you own, and that will build you anything. And then you can turn around and sell that if you want to. This is insane. This is insane. But you're not going to hear people talking about it and saying that. All right. It's just not going to happen. Not in the single digits. So for this video specifically, I think I'm probably done. The main takeaway I wanted to get through with this was that it's the same concept with digital assets. You need to start like thinking about it like that. Okay. The same way that you own your digital assets, you own your own private sovereign cloud. The AI model that's embedded into it, it operates within the parameters that you set. It doesn't just randomly start taking over everything, okay? And so what they've done is they've created that additional layer of programmability and essentially wrapped it around artificial intelligence that can build anything. And they wrapped it around artificial intelligence on general purpose software that can be anything. It's insane. It's insane. It's insane. That might not have been a good general explanation. And people might even be more confused now, for all I know. But that is just the best that I can do for this video. And I'm going to have to try to figure out some type of a better organized way to do this. Like where I go over specific things like, but in a general sense, guys, this is the future of software. Okay? It's the future of software. Smart software. There's almost no reason why all this wouldn't move forward. None. You get rid of cybercrime, IT, right? Gone. Application level development, for the most part, gone. You're essentially wiping every single scam, bot, fake account, and bullshit, all the things that dirty the web up. You're essentially just fucking wiping it off the face of the earth. And honestly, we have no idea what the web would even look like if that did happen. We have no idea. That's all I have for this video. I have no idea whether or not this made sense at all. And I have no idea. So I'll wait, get feedback, and I get questions. I'll try to answer them. And the next video will be not tomorrow, but the next day. Okay? Take care. Have a good day. I'll see you in the next video.